Hi guys, on my previous video I was getting Wyvern eggs and Wyvern milk, and I wanted to do a video on a setup for actually raising babies. Now what I've got in here is I've just got a little room. It's a 4x4. I've got a doorway obviously that I can get the baby in and out of, but because a Wyvern's going to be quite big, I've made this sort of pen out here in which I could take a full-sized Wyvern out. Before I do that, I just want to point out is if you can see these here, these are little stone foundations. That's how I snap this doorway onto this. It's just a good little trick. Is you put down a couple of fence foundations, you can snap a gate onto it. And that's also what I did with this. As you notice, it's snapped in slightly off center. It's annoying me. Probably change it at some point, but this is really just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so before I put down the air conditioners, which is what you're going to use for keeping a baby, or keeping an egg at the right temperature, what I've got in here is I've got a generator. Underneath here I've got a power cable, you can just about see it. I've got a junction box and I've got a fridge. Now if you're doing normal babies, all you need is the fridge. And you're also going to want a trough, a feeding trough in here for normal babies. Because I'm going to be doing a Wyvern, I don't need those. But what you do need for Wyverns is you need a preserving bin. Now I would say you probably want preserving salt as well, because that would increase the amount of time that you can keep milk in there. And you also want to use preserving salt on a baby. So what you want to do is put a couple of milk on a baby when it's born and then put preserving salt on it. It just means that milk's going to last for longer. But also Wyverns won't actually eat very quickly. So unlike a normal baby, is when a normal baby's born, what you need to do is you need to run over and you need to start giving it food as quickly as possible. You're probably going to be standing there for a fair amount of time. If you were doing this on an official sort of everything times one server, if it's a really advanced baby, you're going to be standing there for a long time. That is a tribe sort of raising there. Okay. I will talk about the other stuff you're going to need in a second. But when it comes to actually getting the egg to incubate, what you're going to want to use is air conditioners, because they work different to actually controlling the heat. Air conditioners provide insulation. So if we look here, is like my current hypothermal insulation is 334. My hyperthermal insulation is 99. The more air conditioners you have around, the better insulation you're going to get. So basically, rather than you trying to control the actual heat that the egg is at, you're just going to make the egg think it's at the right heat because it's insulated. That's all you're going to be doing. Now, when it comes to air conditioners, they have quite a large or quite a quick fall off. So once you get 2 foundations away, you won't be getting any insulation from an air conditioner. So what you want to do is enclose them in a very small area. I think the maximum you're going to need is about 16 for the really big eggs, but I'm going to go for 20 here. So what I've done is I've gone and made myself a load of air conditioners. I'm just going to start putting them down. Now I'm going to put one on each corner here of this foundation, and then I'm going to build around them. So I'm going to put one like this and do the same for all of these. As you can see, they are connecting up to that. So there we go. Let's put one like that. Right, that's our 4 in there, and now I'm just going to build the other ones around this. Okay, so I've put all of those air conditioners out. Now over here it's a little bit annoying, it's not quite in the right place. I didn't get the scale right, but as you can see I've got all 20 of them around there. That should do you fine for any egg and pretty much any circumstance you're in. I don't think you need this amount, but I put it in there because I get paranoid that they're going to go. Yeah, okay. So once I turn this on, what we should see is quite a high insulation on both stats. There we go. Yeah, a couple of thousand. That's perfect. Now, obviously, I wouldn't recommend doing this on the really cold areas of Ragnarok or anywhere that's going to have extreme heat. You might need more. I don't know. I've never tried doing it. I've always done it in fairly temperate areas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this egg. Now, I did test this egg already by just chucking it down just to make sure, and that's perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is just going to put this down in here and press O and make sure you don't press E and eat the egg. Done that before. Right, okay, so that's now incubating. As you can see, it's about 1 hour, 40 minutes it's going to take to incubate. That's because we've got a ×4 multiplying on hours. I think it's about 6 or 7 hours for a ×1 server. Now, at that point there, I can just leave that. It'll be safe. I know this setup works in this area. Before I do anything else, though, I want to talk about what you're going to need for each type of baby. So, normal dinos and Wyverns are both going to want care so you can imprint them and get better stats on them. Both of them will have potentially, they'll want a cuddle, which is basically you just walk up, you press E or whatever your use button is, and you go, ah, and you give it a cuddle. The other one is they might want to go for a walk. Now that's also why I've set a pen up out here, is when you want to take them for a walk, you just get them to follow you. But quite often, if they're walking over foundations, you won't get them to actually imprint. What you want to do is you want to run outside, and once they hit the ground, they will actually imprint. You might have to walk them around a bit on the ground, but that's what you need to do. The final type of care that they're going to want is they're either going to want to be fed a milk if they are a Wyvern, milk. They're going to be want to fed Wyvern milk if they're a Wyvern. If they're a normal dino, they're going to want one of a quite large type of, well, quite large list of kibble. So I'm going to read that out to you. You're going to hear the sound cut out in a second because I'm going to tab out. Right, so this list of kibble types that you're going to need to have on hand to guarantee that you can imprint as much as you can on any baby is quite long. You're going to need the kibble of the egg type of these dinosaurs. An Ankylo, a Carbonenimus, that's a turtle, Dilo, Dimetrodon, Dimorphodon, Dodo, Gallimimus, Lystrosaurus, Pachy, Parasaur, Pteranodon, Raptor, Stego, Terrorbird, or Trike egg. So you are going to want to have the ability to get those eggs. Let me tab back in. Okay, sorry about the sound being funky there. Okay, so you're going to want at least a female of each of those. But I would say what you really want to go for is probably 2 females and a male, because you want them mate boosted, and you're going to want an oviraptor. The reason you want to mate boost them is that a female has a chance to lay an egg. I think it's every 30 minutes. Might be wrong with this, but I'm pretty sure it's every 30 minutes a female can potentially lay an egg. If it's mate boosted, that drops down to 17 minutes. And then if you've got an oviraptor there, that drops down to 11 minutes. So you go from potentially having an egg every 30 minutes to potentially having an egg every 11 minutes. And then if you have 2 of them, well, that's every 11 minutes you potentially have another egg. And the eggs will last for quite a while on the ground. So I would say set yourself up an egg farm. If you're doing it specifically for this breeding side of things, then just have yourself an egg farm with those ones in there. Just go around, collect yourself the eggs. You're also going to want to have cooked meat, cooked prime meat. You want to have meat jerky and prime meat jerky. You're also going to want to have vegetables. So you have to set yourself up a farm. You're going to have fibre, berries, and a water source. Whether or not you decide to cook up batches of the kibble beforehand, or if you decide to just have the eggs on hand, is up to you. We just keep the eggs on hand and cook as we need. It means that we don't have to use as many resources. We can just, okay, we know we can make all of these kibble, we'll make them as we need. And obviously, you're not going to need a kibble all the time. So you don't need to necessarily have loads of every type of kibble, because it might ask for different types of kibble along the way, and you know, it's just down to you whether or not you want to keep a stockpile of them. That's your choice. You want to keep a stockpile of the eggs and the resources to make them, it's up to you. Fairly easy to make a kibble once you've got everything. Just throw what you need in a pot, throw the water in there, it's ready to go. So that's down to you, but that is the list of kibble you're going to need, and I'll put that in description afterwards. Now with Wyverns, obviously all you need is milk, but then you've got the side that you can't really keep milk going for quite long, so you're going to want to have to keep going and getting yourself milk when the baby might potentially want care. When it comes to actually giving the baby the care with the milk or the kibble, what you're going to do is you're going to put it on the last slot of your taskbar, so 0 on, you see on my taskbar. You walk up to it and you press E, just like you're doing a passive tame. That's how you do it with the kibble. Now when it comes to preserving salt, you can get this on Ragnarok without actually having access to the scorched earthy sort of area. You know, obviously we don't have that at the moment. To get the salt, I'll show you how to do that, and to get the sulfur, I don't know if you get it from anywhere else, but I know you definitely get it from killing wyverns. Now if you have the ability to survive getting the wyvern eggs and to get the wyvern milk, then you're going to have the ability to actually kill a wyvern. Even if you just knock it out, you can kill it. But you can also kill it with griffins, and which is what I'm going to show you in a second. So first of all, let me show you where to go and get this salt. Okay, I'm over in Vikings Bay, and like everything on Ragnarok, it seems to be the best place to get most resources around here. What you're going to be looking for is this ice mountain up here, and you want basically that dead area over there. That's the easiest place I've found to find what we're looking for. So obviously you just want to go up there. I would say use a flyer, but you don't have to. You can actually get up here without using a flyer. And there is a alpha raptor down there. And a Quetzal. Cool. I actually want to do a video on Quetzals. Right, okay, I'm waffling. So let's get up here and get this salt. Right, so what you're looking for is these bones on the ground. And I know they're all over Ragnarok, but this is the easiest place I've found to get them. Is you just get in here and grab one of these. And all you're just going to do, just going to mine it, like you would anything. So just jump down. I say pickaxe. I think pickaxe is best to do it. Just going to smack into... Hey, bugger off. Okay. So as you can see, it is a little bit dangerous. Those damn vultures. Let's just deal with those. There we go. Wow, that was satisfying. Right, as I was saying, just use your pickaxe on these. And you really don't need much salt. I mean, I think it's like two raw salt goes into one preserving salt. There we go. Got plenty there. That's more than enough. Now what you would need is sulfur. So I am going to have to go and collect some milk to raise that wyvern. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can actually get the sulfur just by actually killing the wyverns with a griffin. It's actually quite effective killing a wyvern with griffins. Oh, it looks like I've come over here when the volcano's being, yeah, active. Right, okay, so before I go and do the wyverns, I just want to explain the way I'm going to do it, just so I can actually concentrate on killing the wyverns. The main thing with killing the wyverns is obviously going to be you want to get height and you want to get speed on them, so you don't want to be in their attack range. Also, if you are actually being attacked by a wyvern, you've got two choices. One is you can quite easily dodge it, so if you do tight turns, they won't be able to get you. Lightning wyverns, slightly more dodgy. The other thing is go into the wyverns, because they can't turn quickly and you can go past them. So basically, if you're being attacked by one, actually turn into the wyvern. They can't turn quick enough to get you. So what you're going to see me doing is, to get height, I'm just going to be doing this. It's basically, I'm just going to be dropping down a little bit till I get my wings, or get those sort of speedy marks you get on the outside. Didn't have enough height there to do that. Actually, once the wings pull back, you can actually do this and you can get a lot of height on them. As you can see, you get that speed buff for quite a distance. Look how high I was there, and look how much height I got from that. So once again, just pull back. I'm going to be putting back up here. Now you've got to make sure not to do that too sharply, or you can kind of stall yourself in the air, so to speak, as you stop getting the speed buff. Now the other thing is what you saw me do back there with the vultures is when you are in this super sort of speedy mode, you actually do a lot more damage. Let's see if I can... No, I didn't get that right. So as you can see, my actual damage there is 63. Let's see if I can find something to hit. You get over 1,000% extra damage when you do that. I don't know what the actual number is, but you get a very big boost when you hit them at full speed. So let's see if we can see something on the ground to do that. Right, so there's a couple of Brontos down there, so I'm going to use that to demonstrate the sort of the damage you can get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into speed mode here, go down here, and smack. As you can see, that's 879 damage I got there. And you don't actually have to be right on top of the creatures. Be careful, is you can actually kind of get yourself stuck on them, so be prepared to press space really quickly. Right, okay, so that's the two things I'm going to be doing, just so I don't have to explain them when I'm in the fight. I'm just going to go and kill myself a wyvern. I want to find myself a male because obviously I want to leave females around to get the milk. Okay, so I've managed to isolate myself out a male lightning with level 20 here. Now you could actually kill these guys with a shotgun potentially if you wanted to. There you go, I've got his attention there. Or just, you know, a weapon on the back of a griffin. But honestly, I find this easier and less resource intensive. So I've got myself a little bit of height on him. Turn around and smack. There we go. Kind of missed the upturn there, but let's get some more height. There he is, a bit more height. Right, now time to turn. Pow! Oh, fun. As you can see, if you get stuck on them, just press space and sprint off. Now, where is it? He's right there. So. And once again, another smack. Going to draw him off a little bit lower. There we go. Right. Now up. There you go. It is really quite easy to kill them in a Griffin, especially low level ones. It's just crazy easy. As you can see, you can harvest sulfur from them. Right. Okay. So now I need to get some Wyvern milk. I'm going to lead them into my pen that I've got over there. And yeah, and then I should be ready to raise the baby. Right guys, I am on my way back from just harvesting a little bit of Wyvern milk. That should be more than enough to actually get the baby going. I've got it on Griffin, so yep, there we go. I had to kill another Wyvern in the end to actually be able to get to one of the females because yeah, they were getting pissy. Right, let's throw this into the preserving bin. So as you can see, I've got just under 10 hours on that, but if I were to actually take the preserving salt out, as you can see, yeah, it's only 4 hours in here. So this is why you really want to be using preserving salt. And it works in fridges as well, by the way. So anything you really want to keep going for a long time, keep preserving salt in it. I can't get to it. Okay, so I've got an hour left on that to incubate, so I will come back once I've done that. Okay guys, so this egg is about to hatch. It is, it's under a minute now. So what I'm going to do is I've made myself a bit more preserving salt and grab myself I've got myself 1 Wyvern milk. I'm just going to wait for this to hatch here and it's literally just press E on it. That's going to last for an hour in until that's fine. So it's going to lose a little bit when we put it in here, but it saves you potentially losing track of the babies. Now, when you get a baby hatch, they are on wander, so yeah, don't be surprised by that. Now, and you can get twins and triplets. Yeah, that can make life interesting. So let's just hope we don't get triplets because I've only got 5 milk at the moment. Okay, right, so 10 seconds left to go. Okay, here we go, about to hatch, and pow, poisoned Wyvern. Okay, so press E to claim the Wyvern, and you're all good there. Now, if you're on a PvP server, I got myself stuck, haven't I? Ah. Smooth. So smooth. There we go. Took a little bit of jumpage there, but okay. So if you're on a PvP server, you might want to be careful if you've got turrets around. Make sure they can't see where a baby's going to hatch, because as you see, it did have a red name there. Now, okay, so this has got 36 minutes to the first care. Now, you don't have to worry too much with Wyvern babies, because as you can see, they start off with a load of food filled out. A normal baby, you would need to be throwing food straight in. What I'm going to do is go throw this preserving salt in. I'll wait a couple of seconds, and the weight should go up a bit. If need be able to take the salt out. There we go. Right, okay. So I've now got a milk in there, and it's going to last for 3 hours and 20 minutes. That should be more than enough time. I mean, I'll be coming back for a care before then. Now, another thing you need to do with these babies is you need to make sure that you take their behaviour off of wandering. And I've got myself stuck again. I might have made this a little bit too small. Right. Okay. I managed to get myself stuck. So this is one thing you do have to be careful of with the small babies, is don't actually drop down in there like I did. I had to destroy one of these to get out. But once again, I mean, the amount that I've got here would be more than enough to keep a baby alive. But yeah, it's something you do have to be careful of. With smaller babies, it's okay. And what I probably should have done there, what I actually should have done, is I should have pressed E and then walked over here and got it to follow me. I didn't, because that's my mistake there. But yeah, so make sure you do stay on top of it if you're going to do a setup like this. But, you know, you really won't need this amount of air conditioners. This is more than anything, this is just me being paranoid. If you had, say, 16 around, it'd be fine. Okay, so I've got the preserving salt in there and I've got the milk. That's now ready to go. I can now just leave that. Now you've got to take off you've got to make sure that you disable the wandering on a baby. And then what you might want to do is set the follow distance to lowest. It's now set on follow, so I'm just going to walk over here and it should just pop out over the top. There we go. So stinking cute. Right, so I'm going to say, there we go, stop him moving now. Right, now I can leave him fine. He's going to be safe in here. I'll come back in 33 minutes and do the care. Okay guys, so I'm about to get the first care on this baby Wyvern. 21 seconds to go, and as you can see, I just realised that's the name of a song. I've got it going in my head now. Right, okay. You've still got the Wyvern milk there. Okay, 8 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah, what's the cuddle? Right, okay. So, just wanted to show this because what you're going to see here is that the imprinting there that I got was 9%, and that was more than its maturation at the moment. So that means that with this, if I were to carry this all the way through, I would end up getting basically, I'll probably be able to get 100% or nigh on 100% within a 90% area of it. The reason I wanted to show this is that there is some server settings that really make a difference between what you're going to get on an imprinting. So when you imprint a baby, what you will get is, if 100% imprinting, you will get a 20% boost on everything. Now, the ratio of this imprinting to maturation is very much determined by the speed of maturation. So I believe the setting is baby speed maturation multiplier or something like that. You know, I'm going to turn this off because it's... Didn't want to do that. It's dark. There we go. Right, okay, carry on what I was saying. Lost my place now. Okay, right, yeah. Now, you also got an interval between baby cuddles as a statistic. Give me 1 second. I will put up exactly what that's called. Okay, so the two server settings that actually govern this, you've got the baby maturation speed multiplier, and then you have baby cuddle interval multiplier. What it is as you increase the maturation speed, you need to reduce the cuddle interval, but as you also decrease the cuddle interval, which is basically any kind of care, so that's cuddling, walking, or giving it kibble or milk, as you reduce that interval, you get less of an imprinting. So it's stats you need to play around with, settings you need to play around with to actually get that to a nice area. The way we have ours is we get anywhere between about 45 minutes through to maybe 33 minutes between each care we need to give, and we get anywhere between about 85% through to 100% imprinting. Our settings are 10 times multiplier for the maturation speed and 0.2 for the cuddle interval. Now there is another setting you have for the server, which is a multiplier for what you get for the imprinting. So you would normally get 20% for a 100% imprinting. If you increase or decrease that, you increase or decrease what you're going to get for that, for the actual imprinting bonus is the word I'm looking for there. Okay, so that's just information, just so you know what you're looking at if you find that there's a mismatch between your maturation and your imprinting. You're never going to get it 100% for every dino unless you go for like ×1 multiplier. But with a ×1 multiplier, for example, this would take, I think it's something like 4 days and 6 hours for this to mature, and that's something where you need to be looking at a tribe. Obviously, if you're doing this solo, or you haven't got many people to do it, or you don't want to be spending all day, you probably want to increase your multiplier for the maturation and decrease your multiplier for the cuddle interval. Okay, So that is the basics of how you would get an egg to hatch quite safely. You wouldn't have to have as many as I've got round here. I put them down just because it's Ragnarok and it can be a bit of a turd. But yeah, if you're going to do it the way I did, make sure you didn't make the mistake I did, which is actually falling down inside here. It's not really so much of an issue with smaller babies, but these big babies, they tend to have like things like this tail was what I was actually getting caught on. So just make sure you do actually just crouch down and do it that way. Obviously I've explained about the kibble, what kibble you will need. I haven't done a regular dino. I know I've done a wyvern just because I wanted to show you how to do the preserving salt and things like that. Once again, I will put the link for where you can find all of this information, and I'll put the actual list of kibbles. Essentially, you want those kibbles, or you want the ability to make those kibbles, you want this air conditioning, you want to have a feeding trough, because once a baby gets beyond the baby point, I believe it's once it gets to adolescent, it can actually start feeding out of trough. It might be juvenile, I'm pretty sure it's adolescent. Can't remember which one it is. It's basically once it gets beyond the baby stage, it will start feeding out of trough. But before then, you have to hand feed it. With poison wyverns, obviously, it only wants milk very rarely. That has only dropped. I mean, it was 700 and something. This is only how far it's dropped. One milk is going to be fine for that. And the final thing is, obviously, you would give it a cuddle. If it wants to walk, make sure you take it outside onto the actual floor. Otherwise, it might not do the imprinting. And the other thing is that when it comes to, say, for example, doing a kibble feed or milk feed, you'd put the milk or your kibble in the slot I just did. You just walk up to it and you press E, and that would do your imprinting. Okay, guys, so I hope you found that useful. If you've done it before, but you just would looking for a way to make it more efficient, this is the way to go. I mean, obviously, these are quite expensive to make, but once you've made them, you've got a setup here that you're just going to be fine for anything. You don't have to mess around. It's worth that security. Yeah, if you've never done it before, now you can see exactly how easy it is to do. This didn't lose any of its health. Essentially, this is quite an involved process in that you need to make all of the air conditioners, you need to have the ability to make the kibble. It's not a difficult process because a lot of the creatures that you need, really none of them are very dangerous apart from, I would say, the raptor and the terror bird. Even then, they're not dangerous. I mean, if you're at the point where you're going to be making kibble and getting prime meat for it and things like that, you're going to be able to get a raptor or something into a taming pen. It's just, like I said, it's long and it's laborious, but it's worth it to get the stats out of it. Okay guys, I hope you found that useful. I hope you raise awesome babies. My next video is going to be on making an egg farm, on this subject anyway, and I'm also going to do another video on how to get your best stats out of dinos. Catch you all soon. Have fun. Bye.